So I made the video on the April 8th eclipse, and I included all of the very strange correlations of that day. It was my 66th video, believe it or not. I didn't know, but there are just so many videos on it now out there, and they all seem to be in the exact same vein. Are people really this genuinely terrified of the moon covering the sun, or is it all just for clicks? I struggled to define what's happening, but I eventually landed upon a word that came to me in a flash. Apocaphilia. I did check, and it's not actually a word. I kind of just made it up. But if it was a word, what would its definition be? I'll leave it up to you guys to decide which definition is best, or maybe come up with your own. But in this video, I am going to indulge. I feel an apocaphiliac attack coming on. Join me as I wallow in the end of days. You see, this giant X shape is not the first to be formed by two eclipses. Two eclipses in the early 1800s also traced a mark upon America, one in 1806 and the other in 1811. And combined, we can clearly see that this has happened before. The second of these eclipses happened on September 17th, 1811, and some 91 days later, this happened. The first of 3 New Madrid earthquakes. And in this video, I'm going to demonstrate with prophecy, history, and symbolism how, just like in the 1800s, America is about to be shaken to its foundations. To understand, we need to go back through the pages of history to a tale about a Native American Indian. In short, his name was Tenskwatawa, and he hailed from the Shawnee tribe. Also known as the prophet, Tenskwatawa had grown increasingly weary of his new European neighbors and believed they were the offspring of an evil spirit. Future President William Harrison had heard of the prophet and dismissed him as a charlatan. Believing the prophet to be a fraud, Harrison challenged Tenskwatawa to perform a miracle or to renounce his supernatural folly. The prophet accepted the challenge, and in April 1806, he declared that in exactly 50 days, the Great Spirit would hide the sun. And exactly 50 days later, the Great Spirit would comply. There was also a prediction from Tenskwatawa's brother, Tecumseh, who predicted the 1811 earthquake. He said he would stamp his foot on the ground and make all the houses shake. So, how was this done? Here we must recall that before the Europeans, the Americas were one vast continent, and its people had developed sophisticated time-keeping systems. One such tribe were the Maya, and if you fell for the whole end of the world doomsday ruse, well, that was all bullshit, so joke's on you. But before the Europeans, the peoples of the Americas knew all about the cycles of time, and one such system was the Tzolk'in, which means division of days. It's a 260-day system divided into 20 13-day time waves, each day numbered 1 to 13 with its own corresponding glyph. It is highly likely that our two prophets were aware of such a system. And let's face it, any continent that can produce architecture such as this knows a thing or two. So what's all this got to do with the April 8th eclipse, you may ask? Well, on April 8th, 2024, the last eclipse will occur on the Mayan Death Day. The eclipse begins in Mexico. The Great Spirit is sending a message. Death Day is here because the Tzolk'in blends the energy of 13 moons with 20 faces of the sun. Combined, they form a prophetic and symbolic time device. Each of the 1 to 13 cycles repeat every 260 days, like gears, cogs in a symbolic machinery of time. And on April 8th, they align at 9 of the moon and the death face of the sun. The death glyph needing no further explanation, except to say that death is the 6th of the 20 signs. This is the true meaning of the 6 heavy correlations on that day. And the X that forms? This is another message from the Great Spirit. 9 death occurs on the Flint time wave. If we go back 9, from 9 death, we find 1 flint, and in its many iterations, it is symbolized as an X. The message from the Great Spirit is clear. April 8th is the death day of the cutting flint, cutting its X-shaped glyph into the USA. And exactly like the eclipse of 1811, which saw 91 days later a massive earthquake, on the eclipse of April 8th, 2024, on the cutting day of death, 91 days later, it is the day of Kaban. Kaban means earthquake. Are you listening to what the Great Spirit speaketh? Do you think this is all just a big coincidence? Do you really think that the Great Spirit is not telling us that what happened before will happen again? This is 100% guaranteed. This is not an Aleph and a Tav. This shape is a tomahawk, like the one surrendered at the Battle of Tippecanoe. This is not a Tav. It is the glyph of the Flint time wave. The Great Spirit has spoken. And the Devil Comet, seen on April 8th, in the last iteration of the Flint time wave, during these dates, the Devil Comet erupted on its way to Earth for the first time in 69 years. Do you think it is just a coincidence that on the last 9 death, July 23rd, 2023, the Baphomet emblazoned Musk changed Twitter to X? So why did I make this video? Well, I wanted to show how easy it is, with a bit of time and effort, to concoct a picture of doom using prophecy, symbolism, and mythology. Instead of this, it may as well be this. In the end, I'm pretty sure that the great creator is not some grand graffiti artist, casting shadow messages upon the earth with eclipses. In the end, the creator wants just a few things, and that's for you to like, share, subscribe, and support me with the various links below. Just kidding. No. Go on, please. Also, a big thank you to the patrons, Pasha V and MM. Thank you guys. I will continue to do this, and I shall see you in the next video.